My name is Kennedy. To many people who know me, I'm what you could call unpredictable. It's hard to believe 2020 felt uneasy for many people all over this planet we call Earth. It made their social side a little bit off edge, their creativity a loss, and even the willingness to part way than to be open to finding their passion. So while you listen to me, and many of my other special guests in the future, I will talk about what has gotten over my hurdles to my problems, and even topics that many people have a hard time trouble of talking about. This is the podcast I like to call Stay Strong and See Your Stars. I just wanted to start this episode by asking a simple question. Do you ever feel like there should be a world without technology? And be honest with yourself. Like, are there days where the drama is too much for yourself because of that one person commenting or showing an image multiple times? Did they say about a franchise of something that you liked? Is it somebody that you looked up to and then you kind of regretted yourself, or not at all? And if the answer is yes, then you're not alone. But again, reiterate my question. No technology, meaning no internet, no social media at all. Now, many people right now would be saying no for that because it's just normal that way, you know. But there are still people out there that don't use social media, or they don't use the internet a lot. And I understand that it's easy to let others just buy a smartphone or even a Kindle, yet some don't have the payments to do that, or the idea to buy the product in the first place, you know. Some struggle to understand the concept of communication of the internet. Even many places around the world have difficult ways of connecting to it in the first place. For example, in the past where I have been from, some cell towers with a company of the Verizon cell service towers, they are like 109 miles away from my town. And the closest one is only like 95 miles away. And even then, you're only probably getting 2 to 1 bar of cell service or internet access, let alone that. And even the area that I have now of the router that I have, it's only going 20.8 megabits per second to download anything, or even to upload something is 3.3 megabytes per second. To put it in perspective, that's equivalent to someone going 40 miles an hour and suddenly getting a tank of gas at mile marker 15. Once you hit 15 miles, well, you're gonna have to refuel with more gas again. Now, I get some that may seem really slow or pointless, but the fact of it is that's just the max power. In some locations, it's better in areas, obviously. But now that I have something that's reasonable, why do I even have to bring it up? Why do I have to talk about it on this podcast? Well, the reason why depends on who's listening, first of all. And second, how it should be said. In both good ways and bad ways. Or is there even possible to be good or bad? Or anything at all when it becomes to a video, a comment, or a picture, or anything really? It can cause many debates immediately. To add on, I understand that the internet is a very touchy topic. I understand that many of you, or some of you, or who any of you could be listening to this might think I've lost everything, but the truth is I've not. I understand this is very out there, and I understand that this is something no one should ever need to talk about. But I want you to understand, guys, I am the same age as when Google was created. And when I was younger, when I first started out, what this internet was, it was more of kind of like a side thing. Because when it came to social interaction, I was so young that it was very hard for me to talk to someone my own age. And what I mean by that is I would only talk to family members my own age. I didn't really have any one or a classmate close to my age. Either they were 5 years older than me or 6 years younger than me. And it was even worse because the area that I'm in now, I have people that are 20 years older than I am, or elderly people that are 40 years older than I am. And so it's very less socializing for me because they're all adults. A kid does not want to talk to all adults. They get scared or they just ignore it. So when I was presented with the internet or a computer, it was way open to me because I felt like it was not worrying about me with the adults in the room. It was easy to have a easier conversation than just to talk to the elderly in some cases, depending on who it is. And it made me more like open-hearted and just being myself there, rather than just being myself with a bunch of adults, because we can all sometimes agree sometimes adults don't like messing around with kids so much, and kids drive people crazy. However, after so long, I'm now at a point where I'm really on the fence of this, because part of me wants to leave all of my social media behind and let people just forget about me because of the amount of viewers I have, or of a comment, or if I said something wrong, or whatever the conversation is talking about. Just one thing can make many people attack one person of one opinion. And sometimes it can be very shady as well for others. In many ways, I've experienced this 352 times because when I first started around Skype, I just felt like, well, this is wrong. This is rude and wrong. No one needs to do this. And not just Skype, but even now in Discord calls. It's annoying. And it feels like many people just need to just pull their stuff together and just get all this things in the way and get on with the facts of it. And it's not lacking in change as much as numbers outdo someone else. It's steadily proven by it, no matter what you can pull by. Even if someone were to post something on Twitter about them feeling good, it feels the opposite because they think they're just crying wolf over something. They're just being themselves, or they're just causing for attention. And I get that's understanding. However, it's not really the point of all of this, or for anybody. And it's shutting me down every time because when I do point out an obvious fact, not opinion, a fact, it feels like whoever I talk to anybody on any social media, not just one or the other, everyone just stays quiet with it. And the worst part is, as the technology advances into this, it slowly starts to paranoid me a little bit, become very psycho. That even now, the adults that I saw are now become elderly. They too have decided to delete their social media accounts. In times like this, the companies behind Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, etc. are now starting to become much more stricter guidelines. For example, the whole YouTube for kids and YouTube in general are two totally, completely different things. And some people realize that with bigger lawsuits in different areas of the world, it can cause a lot of conflicts between everything. And this in turn as well can burn out a lot of people. Now, I get that there's a sign of burnout on the internet, but that's different compared to what mental burnout can do to someone. And you can still be on social media for the rest of your life if you want to. I would not definitely recommend it, but I've had some people where they have, and their real life is more of a burnout than social media is. And that can lead into many different consequences on these burnouts. Some can be described with too much exercise. Just simply reading like a book or a magazine or writing too much can also do that. Obviously, mental stuff like stress and depression and anxiety. It can be something like part of a career job or a family issue or a friend's issue or a relationships issue. Others can be part of something just as small as like a busted light bulb, that's not been fixed for 5 years, 6 years, or longer. So I hate when people mention burning out causes with social media. That's not the case, because if that was the case, these burnouts should have been way, way back, even before I existed. Because there were movies and TV shows that people worked on with these kind of things, and that was their job. And I get hard work is hard work, but you don't see people now, or even back then, complaining about, oh, someone said something about this topic of this movie or blah 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 blah. You don't see that. And yet when people use the phrase, oh, you're being too burnt out, you need to get off of social media, is that really true? Is that really the case? Because if that was, then a lot of users should immediately at that moment delete all their accounts. Because if that's what's causing the fire to fuel, then they need to forcibly get away from what's causing the flame. And in most quote-unquote burnouts, most people still keep the original social media accounts. And what do I mean by that? Well, I have a very important part that ties into this. One of my family members was going out of their way from my family and was doing things way outside of social media. They were having some mental stuff going on, personal stuff going on, and they cared about everybody else except themselves. And I understand that due to the ways of this family member, they went to lots of traumas over the years of their life. And since day one, they deleted all their accounts. They didn't keep them. They didn't shut them down. They didn't they just straight up deleted it. And that right there counts as a burnout. Because one, they knew if they stayed on there, their online friends would cause a scene to my family, also on social media and in the real world. That member did not want to start any more discussion. They knew to end this outside real life burnout, they just had to fully delete all their accounts. Now, granted, some of you may listen to this thinks that's the stupidest idea. Why would they want to do this? But here's the thing. Drama can cause more anger and sadness to one person than it can to a mountain of other people. This member of mine not only lost a lot of things that they can't get back anymore, but also they lost parts of my family in their trust due to the fact whenever this person shows up in real life, most of my other family members would tend to fully ignore this person or not even look at them square in the face. And mind you all, this person, I do love and trust them. I do talk to them occasionally here and there, and they do the same to me in person. But when someone asks, like, hey, can you message this person on Facebook, I don't do that to this person, and they don't do it back to me. So just to show you guys that the stakes were high on this, and it came to the point that if this person didn't do that at all, if they just left their social media sites, their real life burnout would not only clash in real life, but it would also clash in a virtual life that everyone can see and everyone can point out. Remember, numbers is the worst thing when it comes to social media. It's the worst thing ever. And given the situation was happening on the real life involvement with my real family and my real family members, they had to delete all their accounts. They even had to unfriend us. And now, after 6 years of them having what is a medical called paranoid personality disorder, or PPD, which is basically if somebody comments an angry comment, well, guess what? They're going to give an angry comment. That's just simple math. But in some cases with this disorder, they can have a sad reaction. They can have a happy reaction. They can have these paranoia fears of one individual, multiple individuals, thinking as the same one. So if you have somebody that says an angry comment, well, their first guess is going to say, person number 2 is going to also have an angry comment, even though their comment clearly states it's not angry, it's not sad, it's not happy, it's just a general fact or an opinion. Their first mindset is, oh, they also agree. And then the next person does, and so on and so forth. They have known by this disease and now they're fully taking care of themselves and getting a healthier mental lifestyle, but also a physical one. And even building those bridges back up with my family as well. But recently, they're not the only one with that same disorder. Recently, I've been noticing with myself that I've been seeing similar events many times when I'm just going to use this bluntly, on Facebook, and I see a happy comment. The next thing I see is what I thought was an angry comment, like rage. Or in some cases, I see a happy comment and then I see and I'm immediately thinking in my head, oh, someone's gonna give me a sad comment. And overcome someone's opinion. Just basically giving it white noise. Not caring about their facts, not caring about who they are on the other side of the screen. In person, it's different with me because I actually get to see their face. I get to actually vocally talk to them. And in many other cases, it's much, much easier for me to recognize with the face-to-face. Hence why also I grow up with a lot of older adults respecting that rather than just text or noise or audio. And that combined with the fact that this episode being delayed over 2,000 190 hours long, or 3 months, obviously. There were times where I got mad at myself. And I said, well, I gotta do this paragraph again. I gotta retype this part here. No, I can't say here. I can't say this like in the sentence. I know my brain's saying I need to, but Kin, you gotta stop doing that. Or in one case, too, in early September, right when I just got done with finishing with the second one, clear back in July, I was just like, what the actual world am I doing right now? Why would anyone want to hear this anymore? Because no one at all would care about this. And that's when I realized I had to take a step back and say to myself, I get that other people understand the concept of everything. I get that there are many people around me and in real life that fully don't like me at all. Period. And it's been in my brain to realize that that's my normal. That's why, in some cases, when people want to build bigger communities and give great advice, there's always a downfall. There's always that chain in that bleak of people who really just, for whatever reason, I be myself and they don't like it, or they don't want me to be it. But then you have other people in that same pile that are telling me, actually be yourself, Kennedy. Why can't you be yourself? I know I respect those who fully have blocked me or lost my trust or distrust me or whatever hatred nonsense they have against me or whatever. And I get that, like, many people fully think I'm being selfish to many things, or not being selfish enough. But the truth is that if anyone would do anything in their heart, no one would have the guts to stand behind me. Because after 16 years, I am telling you now that it's just me. It's only you. And any number, even if it's just 100 viewers on YouTube, or 1,000 followers on Twitter, or 1 million followers on TikTok, that's just a number. Yeah, people like you. But in reality, it's only you. It's only you in a reality that you create. And if anyone disturbs yourself, it is up to you if you allow that. Many times in the past, and even now, I'm getting to the point where I am fully done with they said, he said, etc. I am done with numbers stacking against others. I don't care if I have to be the only one taking a bullet for somebody else or many others. You tell me to stand up and be strong, I will stand up and be strong. And I will say my point on both sides. The internet should not be used for anything of good and bad, or good. It should be defined by a useful tool, not by a different reality, not by a way of escaping to somewhere else, or to create your own fantasy, or to manipulate, or to distrust other people, or to cause something outside of yourself. If you feel any of those or more, then why on earth would you start in the first place? Now that is what you need to ask when any time you go on any website.